Welcome to Advanced Tactics by Unadvanced People.
Episode 3, where we talk about Outflank. We've got Chris here, our resident material expert, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about Outflank, when and why you might want to outflank, and advantages, disadvantages. All right, take it away, Chris.
So, not everything can outflank, but don't forget that anything with the scout or infiltrate rule can choose to outflank. What outflanking is you put your unit in reserve, and then they can come in from either table side. It's a random die roll to see which side they come in. It's basically a 3+ to come in on the side that you want. And so what I mean by that is on a 1-2 they come on the left, on a 3-4 they come on the right, 5-6 your choice. So therefore if you want them on the right, it's like a 3+. If you want them on the left, it's not quite a 3+, but it's a 2/3, 66% chance that you're going to get them.
Yeah.
Well, 66.666 repeating. So when would you want to outflank? So usually it's things that scout. If you know you're going to go second, or if you have a theory that you're going to go second, you're playing a Death Star army or a Demon army, and you know that they're going to want to Grimoire a unit, and they're going to want to do something turn 1, cast psychic powers, make something invisible. A Tau army. If a Tau army puts his whole army on the board, you generally know he wants to go first. So you could be like, well, I'm going to outflank. And so outflanking, you have to start thinking about this before objectives are placed. In a kill point mission, outflanking, it depends on everything that we say depends on the opponent, depends on the army, and you have to be fluid in 40k. You have to change constantly. But let's say you're playing a 5 objective mission. Well, if you know that you're playing a Raven Wing army, so Darren has his 3 Riptides that he's deployed. He knows he's going second, which is, he doesn't really know that yet. But he knows that he has a whole bunch of outflanking units. So when we place our objectives, let's say we have to have one in the middle of the board. So when Darren places his objectives, he's going to try to place them, near the board edge in cover. So we'll place one there. He might place one, back there. His opponent should see this and know it. So if Darren gets to place 2 of them, he'll probably put one on that side and one on this side. And his opponent will see this and maybe probably put the objectives in the middle to counter it. But what this allows is Darren goes, wow, I have 2 objectives that I can get to easily from the side. So if I have that Maelstrom card, I can jump in and get it. So what he could do is he could put his Riptides in the middle to try and hold an objective and then use his sides of his boards. Now the other time in which outflanking could be really good is if you're playing a Tau army, and he does that. He puts his stuff in the corner there. So now Tau have Interceptor, but the Raven Wing, they got rerollable Jinx saves. They're pretty tough, and he has a lot of units. So he might say, okay, well, I'm going to outflank so that I can come in and just nuke those guys. Or on the counter thing, I'm going to outflank and I'm going to try to come in over here, get an objective, and stay the hell away from those guys.
Yeah.
So you have all these different choices. So you have to start with the outflank early in the game, and you have to place your objectives to make it change. It's also really good outflanking when you're playing Hammer and Anvil. So Hammer and Anvil is where you're deploying across the short board edge.
You're going this way.
Because now your outflankers can come anywhere on there.
Yeah.
So depending on where the other guy moves his units, you can basically counter it and come on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really good for Hammer and Anvil, especially if you've got a slow army and it's going to take you like 2-3 turns to get all the way up, and you're against an army maybe that's not going to be moving towards you, then that's certainly helpful. Yeah.
Well, for Darren, he has this Raven Wing army, and he has his scout unit. So let's say his Raven Wing bikers start on the board, and they're going to scout out, and they're going to be in the middle of the table turn 1, and they're going to be fighting over all these objectives. And so his opponent's going to go, oh my god, Darren has the center of the board. I'm going to come up to engage him. And he has these scout units that have infiltrate, so they can outflank. These guys can come on, turn 2 or turn 3, and they have an objective in your opponent's backfield.
Yep.
Easy peasy. And if they don't do this side, they can do the other side. Yep. Now, if the opponent sits in his backfield and goes fine, they can come on all the way back here from either side, and hopefully you have an objective placed near them.
Yep. So it's important that you have it early on in your mind, because that does determine, as we said, your objective placements possibly, and your overall sort of game plan is really kind of determined by that decision.
And if you can get, so outflanking is something that benefits from reserve manipulation. So if you can get a comms relay, you can re-roll your reserves. That means that you can re-roll successful, and you can try to fail it.
Yeah.
And bring your scouts on later in the game so they can't be killed.
Yep. And certainly, even I've played games where the decision to outflank or not is really, basically, was a game-breaking decision.
Well, look in this scenario. So you're playing a Tau army, and he puts his army on the back line, back here. And you're playing this Dark Angel army. Well, he's basically taken a posture of, I'm not going to lose this game. I'm going to sit in a corner and I'm going to try to maybe tie. Maybe he's really scared of you. It's a final game. He just wants a tie. So he's in the back corner. It's kill points. And Darren's like, wow, like, there's nothing, like, your Raven Wing will never get there. They just can't, it'll take them 3 turns. You're going to lose your army. Well, then you would outflank just to make sure that you get there and can do damage.
Yeah.
And if you outflank, you can also come in your back edge and you can just tie him and say, if that's how you want to be, I'll tie the game.
Yeah. Okay. So that's basically a quick talk about Outflank. So please stay tuned for more tactics videos.